Hello there, students. I'm going to be showing you today how to make little folding buildings, or we'll think of it as a building or a model of something. And we're going to start by just designing a shape, but we're going to create it by putting some lines on a piece of paper here that will fold up into a shape here. Like you can see, this one folds up into a cube. But we can get a little more complex than that. And we'll jump in here and see how that's going to look here. So here you can see this is a little like clock tower looking thing I've made. If you want some inspiration on what buildings you might want to try out, you could come over here and Google search. I just searched here famous buildings. The one thing I would recommend here is you're going to have to be careful with things like this, where if it's circular and smooth and curved and stuff, definitely like that, we're going to steer clear of it. But some circular-ish, we can kind of fake some circles here, some circular shapes like columns, but if it's a big curve thing, we're going to get a little stuck there. So let's jump right in. You can see here, this clock tower is going to unfold into this shape. But we need to be careful. I'm going to show you this one because it's too complex and got a little messy there. You'll see when it tries to unfold, it's going to try and overlap some parts there, and it won't work. So let's jump in here and start designing, and we'll run into some of those problems along the way and see how it looks. So we're going to start with a new sketch, and imagine this, looking down from the top of the building. It's like the floor plan, they call it. So we're going to start with some rectangles, and I'm going to think of this like a clock tower. I'm going to make a second one over here to kind of show you another option here. If you want to make something that appears to be circular, you're going to actually make it to be a polygon with a certain number of sides. So I'm using that tool there. So I'm going to be showing you two different towers at the same time here. And we can always come back and change these later. One more thing there. I'm probably going to want to dimension these. So I'm clicking on dimension, and I want that to be maybe 1.5 inches, somewhere in that ballpark-ish. Right, this design is really up to you. Maybe I want this one to be 2 inches. I'll put some constraints and some size maximums on our web page there, so we don't get too big and it won't fit in the laser or anything like that. But we want to put some numbers on there, some dimensions, so we have some sizes there. And from there, you can kind of see I ended my sketch, and I'm just going to extrude this. And I'm going to extrude both of them at once right now. And here we can just start playing around and kind of make it whatever size we want. Again, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Maybe I want this to be 2.5 inches. That sounds pretty good to me. And now, once we have the kind of base shape there, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. And I'm going to show you this one called Chamfer. So if you chamfer an edge, that puts an angle on it. You can kind of see there, it's cutting off that corner and putting a little angle on there. And maybe you want to do that to all the corners there. It's really up to you. You can play around with the other settings and do different types of chamfers if you want. And you can change the size of it here as well. So how big you want that chamfer to be. And I'm going to do that to both pieces right now just because you can see it works on either one. And next, you can keep extruding from there, right? So you can see I can make the building taller just by pushing extrude again, and that little smaller shape is going to work there. You can also do it on other surfaces like this, which obviously is going to get a little weird, and you might not want to do that, but you can extrude all sorts of different things there. I'm not going to extrude that one right now. And you can keep building and add little side buildings if you want, like this. But be aware, you might need to change some things and go back to that later. And I'm going to put one more chamfer on here. I'm going to say chamfer this top edge also. That looks pretty good to me. All right. So once you kind of got the basic shape that you're looking for, we're going to use this tool, sheet metal bending. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Sheet metal model. That's the first thing we're going to do. And we are going to click. It's going to have a lot of things here, right? So we're going to click on the piece. I'm going to do just this one to start with. And this is going to make it fold up into separate parts. So imagine this is like our piece of paper here that we're going to fold up. These are all the parts. You can see, notice I got that list by pushing the bottom one over here that says sheet metal table and flat view. That's going to show us the flat view of all those parts there. So next I'm going to come down the list, and this says faces to exclude. So if there's a certain part that you don't want, like you don't want the top on the building, you'll see that it's now going to be kind of hollow on the top. That's up to you. If you don't want the bottom or the whatever piece you don't want on there, you're going to have to click that. That's faces to exclude. Then you're going to have to click on which edges you want to bend. So keep coming down that list, edges to bend. And here, there's no simple way to do this. I would say just kind of come around and start clicking on these edges and see how it changes over here. You can see that's putting all those pieces together. Notice if you click all 4 edges, it's not going to work because that's going to make basically a ring out of a piece of paper, and that won't work. You can't make that flat and unfold it. All right, and then just start click on these pieces, and you'll kind of see what works and doesn't work. And you'll start to see it being built over here. And you can always re-click on the line that you clicked on, and it will unselect that and get rid of it. So you can see sometimes it's going to say sheet metal cannot be folded. That means something's going wrong, and you need to unselect something. And let's see, where did I make the mistake? Oh, there it is right there. I can see it now. You're going to have to just play around with it and get it to work eventually. Looks like I'm missing a few pieces here that aren't attached to the one piece. We're going to try and get it to be one solid piece if we can. And look at that, I got it. And I'm kind of in the way there. All right, I got it to be one piece now. Looks a little weird, but it's going to fold up into that shape. And that's going to maybe take you a little bit of time, right? Don't rush that. And when you got that all ready to go, for now, we're not going to play with any of these settings. We're going to assume they all are pretty good for us. And I'm going to click OK. And now I have this hollow shape. I can kind of look in the corner there and see that it's going to be hollow. It cuts out the little corners like that so that it will fold better when you do this. And this is exactly how they fold sheet metal. They design things to be made out of sheet metal, doing the same thing. And you can see that looks pretty cool. But now comes the fun part. If you want to add some decorations like a clock face or whatever, you're just going to come over here to Sketch and click on where you want to draw. Change your view to that. And you can draw all the stuff you want on there, right? You want to do a clock face, you might want to draw a circle and make sure that circle is lined up right in the center. Maybe you want a little rectangle on there. And now you can do a circular pattern. Again, it doesn't have to be a clock face. I'm just doing this real quick because it's a nice one to show you guys possibilities here. And I only got 3 points, so maybe I want 12 points on there. Ooh, but maybe that's looking a little busy. Maybe I want to make that a little smaller. Anyway, you get to play around with that and have some fun with that. Once you got a design you like, as we've done before, you can extrude this. And we're going to select all those pieces and push remove. And you'll start to see it going through. If you want it on both sides, you can just pull it all the way through like that. And you've got some holes in it now, and you see that will automatically pop up in your design over here, which is the flat view of this. Pretty cool. So design away. That's giving you the basics. This step of making the sheet metal model, I'm going to show it to you one more time on this second piece over here. It's going to get a little messy when you have these other shapes. And that is showing me the other one there still. You can do these other shapes, but you are going to, it's going to get a little tricky, right? So just be patient with that. Start clicking on things and seeing what works and doesn't work when you're bending those edges. For some reason, it's not showing up here right now. I'm doing my second piece, but you're only making one, so I will stop the video here and tell you the one last step. So when you are ready to export this, you're going to come over here. You're not going to export anything from over here. We want the flat view that we have over here. So you are going to right-click on, well, you want to select the whole thing, and right-click, export the flat pattern of this whole part. And when you do that, it's the same thing as usual when we're getting this ready for the laser cutter. Make sure it's a DXF, putting a good name on there and all that good stuff. And you can push export and turn that in. And then we can fold that up into a cool little design, and you got a little tape to hold it together, and we'll have some fun with that. I would start simple. We can always make more. If you are getting stuck, let me know. I'd love to help you out. Enjoy. Bye-bye.